What? 2 brand new old gods discovered? Now, we've been talking about the extra old god. Everyone knows, oh, there's going to be another old god. But it looks like Doran thinks there's going to be 2 more old gods? There could never be enough, I guess. Let's find out what he's speculating on now.
So the book in Dragonflight confirmed that there are indeed 5 old gods and not the 4 we had known about all this time. However, when you examine it a little bit further, it says that 5 old gods were chained, not found, not defeated, but in fact imprisoned.
Yeah.
We know about the prisons of Yogg-Strand, Khatun, and N'Zoth.
Right.
Y'Shaarj is
That's
the
3.
4th old god, said to have been defeated and obviously not imprisoned because he was pulled
Oh, he's saying he's not imprisoned because
out. So
because we killed him instead of imprisoning him. So now he's counting 3 imprisoned old gods, meaning there's still 2 more that should be imprisoned. One of them's got to be Xal'atath.
These 2 remaining prisons that we are likely yet to discover. If one is Xal'atath by all the popular theories, who could possibly be the 6th old god? If Xal'atath even turns out to not be an old god, we could be discovering
I don't know about his theory though. I still think Y'Shaarj was considered to be imprisoned because what did they? I mean, maybe he's not really dead. That could be it. Anyways, let's have fun with this theory.
In the future, which could really change everything. So what is even going on? Xal'atath has been messing with us, but people have been messing with your private info with malicious intent, and you can stop that right now with this video sponsor, Aura. People have been making fake accounts with my info, and it's really
if hentai has proven anything, it's that you can never have too many old gods.
Privacy protection service. It is your shield against the unseen forces that seek to exploit your personal information. It handles the removal of your private info. There's a VPN, a password manager, amongst other features, all super easy to set up. Let Aura do the hard work keeping you safe so your private info can stay just that, private. Best of all, you can try Aura completely free for 2 weeks with my link in the description or the QR code on the screen, so you can let people profit on your private info,
with the ad.
or you can go to aura.com/DoransMovies and check out Aura today and start your free trial. This book that was the biggest hint so far, at least until the newest Ridicron cinematic, it came out prior to 10.1, so about a half a year ago, and I gotta say, there's definitely something I have missed early on, and that is that not only did Blizzard confirm that a 5th old god exists, that it's hidden somewhere, but there is also a 6th one as well, which could be something completely unexpected. It is 100% obvious something is going on with the old gods. Not only do we have so many hints, but we had literally seen Xal'atath return in the newest cinematic.
She's there in the portal.
There are so many themes in Dragonflight that go back to the first ordering of Azeroth, from all the talks of the Titans and seeing both their perspective, the perspective of the Black Empire. I mean, we even traveled Black.
Still, I mean, as far as we've gone into this expansion, this is still the best quest line in the whole expansion. When we went back to the Black Empire, N'Zoth started saying, "I know you," or whatever, and I see what you do, I see what you become. You know, he sees his own defeat, essentially. Which means when we did defeat him, he had already known that we were going to show up and, you know, Captain Planet him with the beam of friendship. He already knew that shit was coming, and he still let it happen. Which means, did it really happen? I don't know. The ultimate planner.
Back to the Black Empire in the time travel
scenario. I think N'Zoth's gonna come back.
Really seems to be set up for us to
learn
what
patch was solid,
happened back in the day, back on Primordial Azeroth. So what is really interesting about this is it doesn't really happen often in World of Warcraft, if ever, and that is that Blizzard decided to do an anti-retcon, like a reverse retcon of sorts. All the way back in Classic, we had this.
Wait a minute, did he say retcons don't happen often? It's like the weather, you know, if you don't like it, wait 5 minutes, it'll change. That's how retcon. And Chris Metzen's back. He's gonna retcon the shit out of things. Watch and see.
Titled The Old Gods and the Ordering of Azeroth, which confirmed to us back in the day that 5 old gods were chained. Then this was retconned with the Chronicle, but now in Dragonflight, that original document came back to the game. I'm guessing Blizzard isn't really going to address this inconsistency, address this as a retcon, because they can essentially retcon the whole Chronicle. So the entire premise of this book is the main document of the lore is false, and it is apparently old from a Titan perspective. So the Titans probably still claim that 4 old gods were indeed chained. Now that is cool and all, I mean I guess the Titans are hiding one. However, when you examine it, not only are they actively hiding one, but they may be hiding two, because these are the old gods that we know. We know of Katun, we can see in his prison. We know of Nazot, we can see in his prison. We know of Yogg-Saron, we were inside his prison. However, the fourth old god that was known in the lore we know of is Y'Shaarj, and there is no prison of Y'Shaarj. He was supposedly killed by the Titans in the ancient...
but I still think, you know, maybe like the imprisonment of his heart, you know, he was imprisoned in that way. I still don't think that there's going to be two more old gods. I do see it as one. I see it as, you know, being Zalatash, and that's it. This is extra speculative, I think.
Times in this war, so why would he even be imprisoned? This means that even the edited document is saying
one of the hidden
there
ones
is
has to be
one
a
more imprisoned old god, but the uncensored version says there is two, which means that we may be in for some really
Imagine a
fun times.
loon turns out to be an old god. That would be kind of a twist of fate.
Without actually talking about it, let us examine what the document says precisely. The Pantheon shattered the old god citadels and chained the 5 evil old gods far beneath the surface of the world. Without the old gods' power to keep their raging spirits bound to the physical world, the elementals were banished to an abyssal plane where they could contend with one another for all eternity. With the elementals' departure, nature calmed and the world settled into peaceful harmony. Then the notes scratch this, which is also from multiple documents, but it says this, and obviously it is all got biased. The power of the elements was not so easily contained, nor could they bind the influence of the old gods. The peace came through oppression. Are they truly ignorant to what lies beyond the waves? The document itself, as you may know, obviously says 5 old gods were chained, not 5 were found, or we defeated 5 of them. By this logic, Y'Shaarj would have been the 6th one, and they chained 2 more beneath the surface that we never even heard about. Now, all of this is already old news, but let's go back up to speed to what is going on currently with all the updated stuff. The old theory that Xal'atath may be the 5th old god may just end up being fully accurate.
I think that's true.
Obviously, something is going on, you know, Harbinger, Ashara, yada yada. I mean,
Azara's gonna come back. We know she's the ultimate queen of coming back. You can't kill Azara. You can't kill the tentacle queen. So she's gonna come back. We know that. She probably has something to do with Zalatash and getting revenge on the Void or something like that.
I want to repeat myself a million
things
times
are gonna
in
happen.
the video. Back in the day,
Girl
it was
power.
said that Xal'atath was the claw of Y'Shaarj. Some theories said that she was an old god that was defeated by the others in some sort of a...
I actually think that's the one. That Zalatash was actually one of the most powerful of the old gods, and that's why the others teamed up against her and defeated her. Right? Because the old gods are not necessarily friends. They're not on a quest chain. They're not on a quest line together. They just kind of are thrown out to the universe, and whatever they land on, that's what they infect. And I think the one who, you know, takes over is the winner. So you can't win if the other ones are trying to infect the same planet as you, so you got to kill them. Turns out Zalatash was the most powerful, hence the reason she was the one who was killed. The others teamed up against her, and for now they just leave each other alone until they interfere with each other again.
Civil War, but if she was
That's
defeated
the lore
by
in
the
my
old
head.
gods in the ages past, why would the Titans imprison her when they hit it, right? Well, I think the main answer comes down to this, and it is the official information Blizzard told us on multiple occasions. I mean, here is what Blizzard said back in 2012, so more than a decade ago. They do not die. They do not live. They are outside the cycle. Maybe that would explain why records of the old gods seem to be inconsistent. Only those on the outside would know for certain. Then, just prior
They
to
do not
Dragonflight
die.
release-
See, that's what I'm saying, though. He says they do not die. They're not part of this plane or whatever. They don't exist in that way. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think Y'Shaarj was still imprisoned. Even though the Titans ripped him out of the planet, they can't be killed, so they still had to imprison him. Which is why Zalatash is just the extra old god. There's not 2 more. I feel like he just kind of disproved his own theory here.
They also confirmed in an interview that old gods don't really die, and since we went to Shadowlands, saw that death is really just a meme for mortals. I mean, it makes complete sense. Why would old gods, beings of the void, be able to die on Azeroth in the material plane and be gone for good, just like regular mortals? Now, this brings us back to who exactly these 2 old gods may be, and honestly, I have 2 plausible theories. For one, I'm almost certain it is Zalatat. I mean, you can check on my previous videos
that
on
a new
her
model
quotes
for
for
her?
more
That's pretty
details,
badass
but
if it is.
the summary is, she just really knows way too much, is way too informed, and on so many occasions, she references the old gods as equals, not her masters, which is generally what faceless ones would do, or just direct followers of the old gods. She even says this, which is super interesting and super relevant to what is currently going on. The research into the void here is commendable, but ultimately futile. How could you possibly understand what the Titans did not? Keep in mind, we learned from the recent stuff and back from BFA that the Titans tried to figure out how exactly the old gods tick, how they work, and they never actually managed to figure it out. Through their experiments of trying to get rid of them, they only managed to
I personally think Nazoth, as the ultimate schemer and planner, is smarter than any of the Titans.
Cahoon that we can see in BFA. So just to say that theory, Cahoon is the 5th or the 6th. I mean, he was
cool
created
boss.
later when the prisons were already in place. He was a side effect of them trying to reverse engineer the old gods. So obviously, Cahoon is not the missing link here. So either Zalatat was alive and actually fought the Titans as they invaded Azeroth, but this was hidden from us, or she was kept in a weakened state as she was defeated by the others in a civil war, as the theory states. Then the Titans found her and also imprisoned her in some way so that she doesn't get her powers back.
She's a baddie.
And now we may be in for some really interesting times. However, that is not really that outlandish of a theory anymore. I mean, we saw her in the portal with Ridicon. The real question is, who is the 5th imprisoned old god? And here things get really interesting. Honestly,
okay,
I
let's
don't
hear
think
this theory.
there is in fact a hidden and new old god that they're going to come up with, although obviously the possibility exists. If you use the same logic we used to see why the Titans would chain up Zalatat and how that works for these beings, the 5th one would obviously be Yasharaj. If the old gods are outside of the cycle of life and death and they can't really be killed, why would the Titans be able to kill Yasharaj? They said they just pulled him out and created a well of eternity. There was a wound where the blood of the world soul was. Keep in mind though, Yasharaj was crazy powerful, the strongest of all the old gods. He spread through like half of Azeroth. Old gods are
physically the strongest of the old gods that were left. Zalatesh could have been the strongest. All these boys teamed up against her and killed her, or you know, weakened her. Can't kill her, weakened her. Yasharaj was the strongest one of the ones left, but Nazoth is the smartest of the ones left. He's the ultimate schemer and planner. He's my favorite too. I think he's the coolest one. But just saying, you can't just say Yasharaj is the strongest.
Interplanetary, cosmological, monstrous deities that can influence mind, influence timelines, and who even knows what they can do. I mean, they're not just overgrown ticks where if you pull them well enough, the entire thing is just completely removed. This means that Yasharaj may in fact be alive and imprisoned somewhere, and this could be that hidden beyond the waves skin. They pulled him out, maybe realized that since who even knows what was left of him, he can't be put into a regular prison, so they had to hide him somewhere beyond the waves in a more sophisticated prison, possibly on a
an entire continent used as his prison. Maybe we're going to the other side of the world. I'm telling you guys, that's going to happen. Pirate expansion, sailing to the other side, open seas,
completely hidden continents.
Maybe
just
we
think
find
about
him there.
this logic. I mean, we had seen the heart of Yasharaj back in myths in Pandaria and how his corruption affected the entire continent. I mean, really, do you think they ripped out this monstrosity? His heart just fell clean out, and that is all that was left from this guy that essentially ruled all of Azeroth. I mean, sure, they say some of his remains fell on Pandaria that created
the
a
badass
shot, but
walk.
it is likely that something didn't fall or was still in the ground, and the Titans had to hide it from us and to chain him below to chain the remains. So if we go by this logic, it is likely that we are yet to discover the prison of Zalatat and the prison of Yasharaj, and they could potentially be on a brand new, completely hidden continent. Zalatat could likely just be an avatar of the actual old god, and who even knows what has been fascinating with Yasharaj and how powerful he could be by this point in time. Just to be clear, I don't discount the theory that there could be a brand new old god introduced and brand new old gods introduced, although if we use the same Shadowlands logic, we could be seeing some old characters returning quite soon.
Right.
Thank you for watching. Check out who could be the final boss of Dragonfly by clicking on the screen, and check
So
out
in the
my
end,
second channel for Slavic mythology and other real-world history. See you next time.
In the end, he doesn't really believe that there's another old god. He kind of hinted at the fact that Yasharaj was not an original imprisoned one, and now he's imprisoned or something like that, or, you know, we'll find out. All in all, I could imagine Yasharaj coming back, Nazoth coming back, and Zalatesh being an extra new old god.